Yeah, cool.
Okay. Hey, Ron. Good morning. Okay, now お願いします。
お願いします。
So we'll just start. We've done last week. Just start with a little bit. The floor with the toes, if you like. Just. We just come front to back. Still the toes and the heel. Keeping the knees nice and relaxed. Side to side. Exploring the legs of the feet, inside, outside. Into a rotation. Feel the body a little bit more centered. Letting all the weight spiral into the feet. And last one, just with the weight, all the way to the spine. Close the body as much as you can. Open to the back. You start to increase it, make it a bit bigger, bending the knees a little bit more, coming a little bit more to the ground with the hands. Look for something that's really relaxed, but really simple and heavy. You're kind of working just on a kind of pure vertical this way. Just feel that you can also take it a little bit off at an angle, maybe a little bit over to the back, a little bit over to the left side, a little bit with a little bit of an angle. Just feel for just a minute or so, just play with all of the directions. So you've got the up down, you've got the front side, rotation, this kind of internal. Play with these kind of patterns. So just basically pick a direction and just kind of play with it. Let the body go to the side a little bit. Just kind of listen to the body a little bit. So you'll probably find it wants to go one way. Just follow. You feel any kind of area of tension, especially anything that's really kind of sticking out. Just so you can kind of mobilize the area. Breath. Let's try and work it a little bit. That's it. Nice, nice, nice. Great. Great. Yeah. Nice. And then just center the feet down, center the body. We just kind of mobilize the neck to start with. So just nice, big movements. Do them nice and slow. There shouldn't be any pain in it. So if you feel kind of pain in the neck, just make it smaller. So focusing on mobilizing the neck, but let the whole body also kind of move with it as well. Just explore the neck. So the head's going to kind of orbit the body. Both directions a few times. And then just work with a kind of figure of 8 motion. You've got a circular motion. Now just imagine you pass a figure of 8 moving through the head. And let the whole body go with it. Okay. And just going now to the chest, so I just want you to kind of feel that this whole area sinks down, and then you're just going to mobilize a rotation through the chest. Just play a little bit with the hands because you might find it easier sometimes the hands like this, maybe even the hands like this, maybe even the hands kind of out, but just feel that this whole area basically just releases down, and I'm really trying to mobilize the upper spine and the chest. And just a few one way, a few big circles the other way. And then again, just figure of motion, or basically just play with the motion. A figure of 8's a good way to kind of explore different directions and shifting the direction. It's just designed to mobilize, open the area up. And just play with the arms, the positioning of the arms. And then we'll just go to the arms, just keep the arms quite straight. Raising them up, nice big circles. Just big, full range of motion as you can. Play a little bit with the positioning, in this case of the thumbs. So depending on how you position the thumb, will slightly change the movement. So just play with it a little bit. Just do a few to the front, rotating to the back, and change the direction. Nice big circles. Let's take it nice and slow. Good. And then just going just specifically to the shoulders. Keep the arms relaxed. Feel that now this is much more about the shoulder blades and the chest. Okay. You're trying to mobilize the back. A few circles here. Again, try and get as full a range of motion as you can. So to the up, to the back, down, and to the front. And you can go to the front, to the back. Circle, circle. Just go up to the hips. Just think about passing the edge of the hips on a circle. So I always imagine I've got like a big movement into the body. And just imagine you want to touch the hips to this big circle. Again, let the whole body be moved in the movement, even though the focus is on the hips. Let the whole body move with it. Just a few more through the other way. Yay, big moves. And again with the hips, just working with rotate motion. And start to bring the hands in very lightly. But again, mostly about the hips. And the hips are really mobile, so you've got a lot of range of motion just in a quite a small area. So just play. You can keep the hips in a kind of flat plane this way. Or you can also think about kind of raising the hips and sinking the hips. So again, just mobilize the whole area. You can go one way or the other way. And if you want, include the hands because they can kind of help the movement be a bit more fluid. And just play with the air, just a few. The last one, dude, just is something we tend to kind of avoid in a way, or we tend to do one way and not the other. It's a kind of tilt. So just focus on kind of tilting back and then tucking in. Tilting back. It's like you're kind of sticking the butt out, arching the spine, and then you're kind of tucking the tailbone, flattening the lower back. Just go between these two extreme positions. Again, mostly trying to do it in the pelvis. Just to mobilize. Yeah. Okay, good. And just go down to the knees. Keeping the ankles quite loose, flexible. Again, it shouldn't be painful in the knees, so start with small circles. And if you feel kind of comfortable with it, just start to expand them. A little bit bigger. And just do a few the other way. And just stretch the legs back a little bit. And bring them forward. Nice and slow back. And then forward. And back. Okay. And the last one, just working the ankles. Just pressing the ball of the foot into the ground. And just really mobilizing the ankle one way. Keeping most of the weight in the opposite leg. Just so it allows you to really free the leg up. Work a little bit the toes if you like. So bring the toes down to the ground. And then just raise it off the ground, working with circles. One way, the other way. And then again, just play with a kind of infinity symbol or a figure of eight with the foot. You can also draw letters. So you can draw your name or you can draw any word you like, but just play with mobilizing the foot in different directions. And then just shake it out. On the foot down, just go to the other side. And then off the ground, just work first with circles. Big circles as you can. Both directions. And then play with a different pattern of movement. Shake it out. Okay, we'll just go to some breathing stretches. So stretching right up. Nice deep breath in through the nose. Quite nice length, and then just bending from the knees, breathing out all the way to the ground, nice and slow. Lengthen, 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 all the way down. Settle the weight back into the heels. Draw the hands into close to the body, and then just start to curl the body back up. Keeping the spine curled, And then as you come up, just start to release the spine. Breathing in again. Nice deep in, and just let it out slowly as you go down. Keep the knees relaxed. Settle the weight in the body. Roll the arms up. And just a few. Make it a little bit more dynamic if you want. In that case, just speed the breath up. Just one more nice and full. And at the bottom, just hold the position. So up, out. Just spend a little bit of time here in this kind of forward fold. Take a few nice deep breaths. Just so you can release the upper body, the head. More and more, let the spine lengthen. Release. And then just start to pass the wave through the spine, using the hands as contact. Just open the body out. Start to make it a little bit bigger, so kind of swaying from side to side, from foot to foot. Just pass the motion through the spine. And then really slowly, very lightly, just start to pull the body up to a vertical. Really slow. Use the breath. And just feel that you need to really center the body, center the weight in the heels. Start to straighten the knees. Just start to pull, keeping your arms relaxed. Just bring yourself back to a vertical, really slow. We'll just start where we began, end where we began with this part. Shake the knee. Feel a little bit heavier and more centered than when we started, hopefully. And just start to bring the hands up, shake them out. And the feet. The other side. Lean the body forward a little bit, working in circles with the arms. Try and really feel the arms like thick, heavy ropes in front of the body. You feel the shoulders open, elbows soft, wrist and fingers. And then just back to vertical. Pulse through. Feel the weight sink down through the ground. And just make the movement smaller and smaller. You feel the body really balanced. Right in the center. Okay, good. So we're going to work on Jo this week. So just take the Jo. So, really quick kind of Jo movements, just with the body, with the arm. Just take just in the Jo. lots of kind of benefits of these kind of exercises. The main one for today is just trying to get a sense of the weight of the jaw, the center of the jaw, and how to manipulate the jaw from the center. Just change to the other. The key in this kind of movement is just focus on the shoulder being really relaxed down. So think that the shoulder's always backing down. The main thing I want to avoid in this is like this, the shoulder getting drawn out. So just focus on the shoulder, back and down. And most of the rotation work is happening in the wrist and the forearm. This rotation. And the elbow's quite relaxed. Go a few one way and the other. If you feel like this happens with the elbow, just use the other hand to kind of brace the structure. Just very lightly. Let the other hand just rest into it. And then you'll feel also that the wrist is rotating within the grip. That's it. And just a few one side. And then one thing that the jaw is really great for training is grip work and transitions in the handwork. So just practice now. You're going to change the hand each side. You go underneath each time and then pass it. Underneath, pass it. Underneath, pass it. Start to increase the movement out a little bit more to the sides. Okay. That's it. Good. Okay. That's it. And try and feel as much as possible like the rest of the body's kind of undisturbed by the movement of the jaw. What can happen a lot is like, or these kind of things. Just feel that this part of the body, the main part of the body, not the arm. Everything that's not the arm, just let it release down. And then just let the movement come into the center of the body. There we go. That's it. And then just to take this into an infinity, just one side. Now really what's changed is the hip work. So before the hips were kind of inactive a little bit. And now what's happening is the hip is passing through a figure of 8. So just one side. And feel free to kind of play with the form a little bit. So you can also kind of hold the position at the back. Fire it through. Things to feel really centered and balanced as you do it. And again, the arm, the shoulder, try and keep it really relaxed down. So I never really want to bring the shoulder in these kind of positions and about. So keep the shoulder back and down. And you might find it helpful, I sometimes do, is take the opposite hand and just place it on the shoulder. Just so I've got a kind of feedback on what the shoulder's actually doing. And I should feel all the time the shoulder's kind of sitting into the structure. And I shouldn't feel that it gets pulled out. This, a little bit with this. If you're really used to this movement, just make it as flexible as possible. And you want to get to a point where you're not really focusing on the arm, but you're focusing on what the hips are doing and the grounding through the lower body. And I just let the arm go. And then just change sides for the side. It's not slow. Play with the movement a little bit. Break it down. Just check the shoulder. Everything's falling back and down. And then you're going to make the same transition, changing from below each time. So just change below, one side, change below, the other. More. And what I find these movements great for is like getting out of the head, because once I've got the motion or once I've got the coordination, I can really allow the feeling to drop really into the head. So just start to feel now, keep this motion and really feel that you center the movement in the center of the body. So now really focusing on the hips and how the hips are going to kind of generate this rotation and then pass it out into the hand. Again, with a really fixed, with a really kind of firm connection to the ground. Feet nice and solid, really grounded. And then the hips basically free to start to rotate, spiral, and then the hand, the upper body will just follow. Just start to speed it up a little bit. Just be mindful of objects around you. Just start to speed it up if you're comfortable. Play with closing the eyes or half closing the eyes. Anything to get out of the head and into the center of the body. Just a few, just start to move the feet. So keeping the same motion, keep the jaw in motion. Just start to play with the feet forwards, backwards. If you're kind of comfortable with it, just start to add a little bit of a rotation to the movement as well. But just keep it simple for now and really focusing on the grounding through the feet. So now you're in motion. The key is really the compressive footwork, really placing the feet. That's it. And there's two ways you can challenge yourself in this game. You can go faster, or you can make the movement more complex. So you can make the bigger rotation, make the footwork more complex. Or I can start to speed up. Make it faster. Or you can go, if that's easy, you speed up and you make it more complex. Just a couple of minutes. Really simple pattern. The hands. Yeah. That's it. Oi, don't get yourself in the shin. Very nice, very nice. Okay. So each time we'll cover a kind of different rotation movement and we'll start to introduce them into a kind of freestyle. So what we're going to do is just work on a ski. So just wanting to focus on the jaw again. We did this, I think, last week sometime at some point. Just focus on having the grip in the jaw like this, and just into the footwork, because we've done a lot of bokken work in the last week, which is focused really on a hammy which is quite narrow. So it's a hammy like this. So what I want you to do is just start with that hammy. Start with the right side as if you've got the bokken, just like this. And then just feel what you're going to do with the jaw is something different with the hip. So keep the left hand on the back of the jaw, and then just open the back hip out. And you're going to come to this position. So I just want you to play with that, going from this kind of bokken stance, very kind of natural, quite narrow, triangular, and then open the back out, and then go into this kind of position. So the jaw command is sometimes called like hitoemi, which means really like to make the body small. So the ken work is quite triangular, quite narrow, and then the jaw work is really wedging out the body in a bigger triangle. So just play with this, just shifting from that position with the hips to that position. Really, really different, totally different position. But still based on the same principle of a triangular posture that we did from the ken work. More open, much more open. Yeah. Yeah, and also play left side, right side as well. So it's a little bit tricky. If you've got the left side, actually just hold the jo in this way. So you've got this kind of position and just feed it back. You can play with from the bokken grip like this and then slide it back. A little bit tricky because the hand's not on the back of the jo. That's it. That's it. That's it. Nice. So in the same way that when we use the bokken, the base hand with that's gripping the sword is the anchor for the movement, where the kind of arc's going to come from. It's the same case with the jo. So the backhand's really where the movement's going to kind of come from. So I just want to play a little bit, just find the posture, find the kamae like this, and then just with feet in the backhand through the jo. So not moving the feet, and again, just about mobilizing. So I'm not worried about making a movement. I just wanted to focus on just passing an arc through the jo. If you imagine like an old steam train with the wheels, and then they've got a system attached to the wheel. So when it goes, there's like a cog, and it goes like dum 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 like this. And I want the arm to basically work like this. It's kind of rolling through. And just see if you could really mobilize it. So everything's going to move, and there's nothing kind of static, passive. Everything's going to play its part in this movement. So everything's going to go. You should be very loose. So I'm not at all thinking about thrusting yet. Just think about passing this movement through. That's it. Try one side and then go to the other. So if you're kind of comfortable with it, just start to go to the other. And just feel if there's a difference between one side and the other. There usually is. One side might feel a bit more stiff, the other side feels a bit more free, and might be able to pass a bigger movement. And the great thing about the jo is a lot of the movements are symmetrical. So especially the ski work, we do the same on the left as the right, which isn't the case for the bokken work. So the jo work, in a way, is a bit more of a balanced weapon. That's it. That's it. Yeah, and again, just notice the body. So I don't want the body to kind of be disturbed by the movement. So although I want the whole body to be involved in the movement, I don't want to lose the ground to do it. So just focus now on let the arms do what they're doing and keep the body really grounding down. So you've got the length, the extension, the width, but keep it in a sense grounding down. So you've got always a sense of the body hugging the ground. So you've got this kind of motion. And actually, the more I can get that feeling, the bigger arc I can pass out. To actually help me pass a big movement. Awesome. That's it. And just keep changing one side to the other. Nice and free, flexible. And just notice the position of the knees and whether you kind of have a sense of tension in the knees. And just more and more feel that you release through the knees. Let the body relax down to the ground. Oh, good. Nice. So you're always going to do things with the two arms. So with the jo also now, I just want you to focus on the other hand. I don't want you to change the movement, but I want you to just look at what the hand's doing or feel what the hand's doing. So a lot of the time, the jo work, what happens is this arm becomes stiff and it doesn't really do anything. It's not really involved in the movement. And what I need to do is get the sense that this arm is also involved in moving with it. So just keep the same motion, but just now become aware of what this arm's doing. It's also going to arc through the movement as well. So just allow that arm, the front arm, to also be very flexible. And the grip on the jo is very, very light. So I'm just also now focusing on how I feed the jo through that hand. And I'm not going to stop the motion here as well. So keep it going. Big arc. It's as if I'm throwing the jo away. That's it. And just change slides a few times as well. And just notice what this arm is doing, the front arm. That's it. Good. Nice. Okay, so in the same way, what we often do with the bokken work is push and do in a way like pushing the bokken out. We have the same tendency with the jo in a way like pushing the jo out. And then what's actually happening, the jo is being thrown away from the body, and then I'm trying to grip it to cling to it. So it's getting thrown out, and I'm trying to catch it with the body. But if you think all the jo work, actually a lot of the jo work comes from spear work. So it's the same with the sword. If I've got a sword, I don't need to really do it. It's a really sharp object, and I just let it slice. Or it's a weighted object, and I use a percussion, and most of the weight's actually coming from the body. So just imagine the jo's like a spear. It's got a point. I don't need to, in a way, do this kind of stuff with it. So I don't need to really push it out. All I need to do is like find an arc through the body. So try and have no sense of pushing away or pushing out. Just have the sense of arcing through the whole system. So the jo work's not about pushing out. It's much more about finding an arc, passing an arc through the body. Just find that. And this probably helps. Just imagine that the tip of the jo is very, very sharp. So it's just going to go through the space with no effort. It's not in a way kind of pushing it out. Good. And if you've ever been to the Montreal dojo, you know, we used to have the spear. It's now in Lewis's dojo at home. But we used to have a spear, which was a copy of O-sensei's from the Iwama dojo. And O-sensei, if you watch almost all of the videos where it looks like O-sensei is doing jo work, he's actually using a spear. And a lot of the movements he does only really make sense if you think of the jo as a spear. So a lot of them are slicing, piercing movements. And they were basically all modified from spear work into jo work. And O-sensei was also a bayonet instructor. So he did a lot of bayonet instructor. And that also really, I think, really influenced the jo work. So it helps just imagine it's like a sharp spearing object. That's it. Nice. Good, so now just involving the feet with it, just take the posture here, and then you're just going to slide the feet forward, and just feel that you just place the jo. So again, it's just this really to get away from the idea of pushing the jo out. This way, just do this nice and lightly, and it's as if there's a wall in front of me, and I just place the jo into it. So I just touch the jo with it. And this is a really good exercise if you have a wall near you, just to get the sense of just touching the wall. So I'm not going to really make an impact with the jo. I'm just going to slide the body forward and touch. I also do this with I do this with, don't do that. I do this with this. So I just want the sense that I'm just touching it there. And the contact's in a way that I'm not going to hit it. So just the sense that the jo's going to get to a point and it's just going to stop. And then you go again. That's it. Very light. And try and really feel your feeling extends right to the tip of the jo. So all the way to the tip. Imagine it's like your fingertip. So in the same way that you would like point at something or touch something with the finger, have that same kind of feeling that you want with the jo. So I really want the feeling that my feeling goes right to the tip of the jo. Yeah. And then out. Yeah. And then out. That's it. And just do a few one side, few the other. And just notice if you feel a kind of difference between the sides. There we go. Nice. Very nice. Good. I'll just give you a few guides for the body. So it's never exact because we all have different bodies, but these are just a few guidelines that you can work with. So the first position, really feel that the hand is right at the back hip. So it's not necessarily, it's not touching the back hip, but it's on the same line. So this line from the hip here, the jo is just going to be placed in. Now, I don't want the kamae. The reason for this, I don't want the kamae to be in the front like this, because in order to then move the jo, because it's not a sharp object, I need to pass an arc through the movement. So if it was sharp, I could get away with just pushing it through like this. Because it's not, because I need to do a percussive strike, I need to bring an arc through the movement. So I need to pass a bigger movement through the jaw. So what this does is, if I start here, I need to pull the jaw back a long way to there do the movement. But if the jaw's here locked to the hip, or on the same line as the hip, I can much easier pass the movement through. So it gives me a much more efficient ski. So just play with this first, just the feeling that every time I'm going to go back into this position, right on the back hip, and then pass the movement through. And then right to the back hip. One of the problems with this kind of repetitious practice, we tend to go more and more to the front. So it tends to become like this. It becomes smaller and smaller. So each time think about opening, drawing the jaw back to the hip, and then full movement. Full draw back, right to the back hip. Full movement through. That's it. Good. That's it. That's it. Okay, next point is where you stop the jaw, or where the jaw finishes. So in this case, you might see sometimes this is where jaw in Aikido is different from jaw in other systems. So you might see in other styles that the jaw will get kind of pulled through all the way through. And this is sometimes in Jodo or these kind of different arts which use the jaw specifically. What we do in this case is just stop round about the line of the shoulder. So I want to keep a kind of wide grip. I don't want to again pull through the jaw this way. So just so I know, you go from the back hip, and then the arc goes through, and this hand just lines up with the shoulder, round about the shoulder, and just play with it, just so you can get like an exact. And it's not definite, like it needs to go to the shoulder. It's more that I just need to complete the arc, and that feeling there. So I've got the arm full in extension, and the arc's just been completed there, and then I draw back there. So just trying to find the right moment. Just there. Just feels like it's comfortable. It's all locked into the system. And for me, it's just with the shoulder, with the front shoulder. That's it. Nice. That's it. And the main problem we have with the jaw is a disconnection in the gripping hand. So I just want you to focus on one thing. The backhand and the position of the wrist in relationship to the length of the jaw, this line. What we tend to do a lot with the jaw work is use the wrist like this. So it's in this position. And then you've basically got this kink in the wrist. And if I strike something with this, so if I use this to strike like a makiwara, and I use this position, all the force goes to the jaw and then clunk into the wrist. And then if I do this a lot, I will just break the wrist. The wrist will just become really fragile. So what I want to feel is the jaw is like an extension of the forearm. So what I'm going to do, just play a little bit with this, and I want to wrap the jaw so that when I finish the ski, it's like the forearm is an extension, or the jaw is an extension of the forearm. I feel a bit like, Wolverine, where it's like something grows out of the arm. So there's like the weapon grows out of the middle of the forearm. So there's a feeling really of connection, and it's basically creating one line. And then if I receive force through it, it travels through the limb, goes to the back, and then goes to the rear foot. So and it goes all the way to the back foot, rather than kinking into the wrist. There we go. That's it. Yeah. And just play both sides. That's good. Nice. Okay, good. We'll just work on the first saburi. So all the saburi now, the first few, they start from this position. So this is called kind of jokamai in the system. And the jaws basically just relax front of the left foot. And this just feel that the jaw is really accessible. So I don't want the jaw to be out to the front, and I don't be too close to the body, kind of jam like this. So I just want to feel that I place the jaw down in a kind of comfortable position. So the arms relaxed, the body's nice and centered. really like the same way you would kind of position yourself in Taina Henko. It's got this and this. This feels quite natural. So just find the right point. It's about that. And then in the first Saburi, what you're going to do is the same ski motion. And I'm going to go in this position. So the back hand is going to slide onto the jaw and then thrust forward. So just feel that position. I'm going to breathe towards the ground, sink into the back foot, move through and find it. And I want to find exactly the same position as I just had. All the ski work we've done. Find the back, sink the feeling down, and then go. And then back. And then back. Okay, so the biggest problem with this movement is separation. So it's to do with the hand and then doing the movement. Or it's to do nothing with the body and then do the movement. So this is creating a kind of separation in a movement that's really one thing. So I want you to play with this. Don't think about the ski. I just want you to think about the body. So it's the same thing with like Taina Henko. I offer, I move. Everything goes. So there's nothing in a way that's not going to move. Everything's involved in that movement. So this motion, and I want you to play with the jaws like this in front. And I just want you to think, everything goes. Don't worry about the ski, don't worry about the form. It's a feeling where everything in the body moves. Everything goes. So the jaw, the hand, the arm, the hips, the head, the neck, every part of the body will move. There's nothing kind of passive in the. That's it. It's like one movement, whole body goes. Yeah. That's it. That's it. So a lot of us learn the jaw movement like this. Because we were taught as beginners, because we came into the dojo like really uncoordinated. So the teacher told us, just put the hand there and then go there and then do it. And this gets drilled in, and then I've actually created a separation in the movement. So you've got one thing, you've divided into two already. Now you can put those back together, but it's quite a tricky work. So what I want you to just focus on again, just really try and get the sense that I don't go with the hand first and then move the feet. Really feel, just if this helps, really feel that the foot goes first. So my feeling goes to the back foot. Again. So it goes from the back foot. But I don't go to the hand first. So I don't think at all about the hand or what the hand does. So just think about the feeling goes in the back. The hand will follow because it's connected. So just feel that there's a feeling down. The body will slide forward. That's it. That's it. That's it. Well, this is why the sword works very simple, because it's really just a downwards kind of fall. There's a little bit out, but a lot of the movements are about kind of traveling with the body. So it's about, the jaw work is not about a kind of vertical, it's much more about horizontal work, especially the ski work. So I need to base any kind of horizontal movement in a vertical movement, because I can't just do it. If you think about it, take a position, I can't just move the body in a horizontal unless I fall. Unless I just fall, that's the only way I can really pass through a horizontal. Or if I'm on ice and someone pushes me, and I will slide. But in order for me to initiate a horizontal movement, I need to initiate it down first. So the first feeling is down, and then through. But I convert that downwards energy straight away forward. So one of the problems we've got now is like I press down, and then I move forward. But really feel that that's the same thing. I enter down, forward, and then find it. So feel that you're like wedging the body through the ground this way. Just give it a try. But really feel it's based on a downwards pull, or downwards compression. That's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. There we go. Good. Okay, so we go to number 2. The second one, it's really the same movement, but it uses a different hand position. So now rather than going to the back and the base of the jaw, you take the hand over the top. So now you go into this position and then thrust through. So it's the same movement, but the hand works a bit different. So you start now here, the hand goes to the top of the jaw, and then you slide in with the same ski this way. So this is number 2. Over the top, and then thrusting in. Over the top, thrusting in. Just as much as possible again, try and make it one movement, one thing. That's it. Yeah, the same thing. This is now a bit more obvious because what we tend to do is like this and then this. So what happens is like a twist out of the structure. And then I have to bring it all the way back to do it. But again, really feel that you just do one thing, and my intention is just to slide in with the body. So it, the like this, and nothing in the body kind of twists out and then goes back. Feel it again, one thing, and I want to make it as simple as possible. And that means I'm just going to go compress down, slide in. And then just feel the jaw really comes in towards the center. So the movement's being pulled, all pulled into the center. So everything's kind of coming out from the center. Just try and get this feeling. And just break, if you're really used to the form, don't do it in a kind of repetitious way. Really break it down. So do the start, just the start. What's that initial movement? Just focus on slightly breaking the form a little bit. Because we go just to repetition, we just kind of practice bad habits. So try again, try and break it down a little bit. That's it. That's it. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Great. So in a way, there's a kind of big problem, which is kind of a lot of the time it's kind of littered through the system as well. So, and I really notice it myself. So the Joe work's a really great way to train not to do this. So one of the problems we got when we go to grabbing work is we go to actually grabbing. So the feeling is like, and in English we call this like snatching. So snatching the jaw, I need to snatch the jaw back. It goes like this. Just really get a sense that you're not really gonna grab it, but you're just gonna connect the hand into the jaw. So really feel like it's something kind of magnetic, rather than I'm trying to kind of snatch it, which oftentimes if I do this fast, I can't snatch. So if things happen fast, snatching is not really an option. I need to basically use connection work this way. So really just feel something different, or there's a different flavor in the movement, which isn't about grabbing the jaw, it's about connecting into it. And that's the same when we work with a partner. I'm not kind of grab them, I'm trying to connect. And the grip is the last thing that I'm really kind of focused on. That's it. There we go. Okay, we'll just finish with a really simple pattern, which is to blend 1 and 2 together. So we're going to start with 2, and then you're going to go to this side. I'll show you the pattern. Really, really simple. Start like number 2, so you go forward. Now from here, I want you to release the hand, slide back into command, and then from here, thrust forward. So it's a really simple 1, 2, 3. Goes to the from this position. Go command. I go to number 2. I slide back from the jump, and then press through again. So the main difference that's new now is this connection back. So this, release it, connect the body. The whole body goes again. And again, nothing's kind of passive in the movement. So I'm not trying to grab it. I'm trying to reach, find the body, find the jaw with the whole body. So. Nice, great. So all of you got the handwork. What I want to focus on is the footwork. So really focus on, again, the compression work in the feet. So the horizontal movement is always going to be based in the vertical. So compressing the body here. And then from this movement, how do I slide the body back? Compress here. And then compress, slide forward. So really focus just now on the footwork and which foot I need to press into to kind of travel forward. So we'll just slide forward. So in this case, compression in the back. Compression in the front, compression in the back, and then back to the side. Focus on that kind of heaviness, heavy connection through the ground. Yeah. Oh. And back. Again, you just want that heavy, relaxed, connected feeling. Left, true, right. That's it. Okie dokie, good. We'll stop there. So it's really the base of the Joe, the ski work, and then 1 and 2 are really the basic, really different ways to do the ski. And then we'll build on them this week and then start to play with them a little bit. So. Hi. Domo, arigato, gozaimasu.
Thanks a lot, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Basic.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.